Winning by a Nose is a rhyming story about a young proboscis monkey on the island of Borneo. He worries because his nose is smaller than the ones of the other boy monkeys. When the other monkeys tease and bully him, he pulls and stretches and tugs on his nose to make it bigger. The story tells what happens next. The hero of this story is called Schnoz in honor of the famous comedian Jimmy Durante. Jimmy was a big radio and television star back in the middle of the 1900s. Jimmy had an enormous nose. We'll tell you more about Jimmy and that nose toward the end of the story. But let's get on with the story itself.
In steamy Southeast Asia, where the weather's hot and muggy, lies the world's third largest island, and we call it Borneo. It's got tall and rainy forests. It's got mangrove swamps and jungles. It's got secret winding rivers where the monkeys like to go. There's a special kind of monkey that lives down along the rivers. Its nose is huge and bulbous, and it grows and grows and grows. The snoot is called proboscis, and the word rhymes with colossus, which means really, really, really big, just like the monkey's nose. The proboscis monkey daddy is an oddly handsome fellow, with a great big round pot belly and a long white ropey tail. But it's his nose that makes him special. It is pendulous and floppy. If the monkey's nose looks just like that, you'll know that it's a male. The proboscis monkey mommy is much smaller than the daddy. Her nose, while not as large as his, is big as monkeys go. And then there are the babies with their pretty blue-black faces and their little turned-up noses that will soon begin to grow. Now once there was a youngster that looked just like all the others, but his nose stayed small and upturned as the rest of him got big. The others all made fun of him because his nose was teeny, so if noses were as big as trees, then his was just a twig. The little monkey worried that his nose would not get bigger, and he hid among the sticks and leaves so others wouldn't see. He dangled from high branches, way above the other monkeys, and he hoped they would not notice him so high up in the tree. His mom and dad were both concerned about their little fellow. They watched and hoped and waited for his teeny nose to sprout, but his snoot stayed small and tiny, and their little boy got whiny as the other monkeys played all day and always left him out. Then one day the little monkey, whom the others all called Peanut, thought of ways to make his nose get big and save him from disgrace. He pulled and stretched and tugged upon his undersized proboscis, but it snapped back without warning and it smacked him in the face. Little Peanut, quite embarrassed, prayed that no one had been watching, but 4 monkeys sitting in a row had seen what he had done. They giggled from their perch upon some tree roots in the forest, while poor Peanut sat alone and sad, his back turned toward the sun. Then something special happened when he got a little older. Peanut's nose began to grow and never seemed to stop. He had to push it up and out whenever he ate dinner. If he took his hand away too fast, his nose would bounce and flop. His nose grew even larger than the ones of other monkeys, who now called him Old SCHNOZZOLA for his snoot's tremendous size. If noses could win trophies, then Old Schnoz would be the champion of every monkey contest in which noses claim a prize. The monkey ladies loved him, and Schnoz soon became a daddy. He inspected every baby's face and every upturned nose. He adored the many children, and no matter what they looked like, Schnoz told them they were gorgeous from their heads down to their toes. If you ever go to Borneo to see proboscis monkeys, remember little Peanut and how teasing made him sad. They call him Schnoz the King now, and everyone respects him for accepting all for who they are and making them feel glad. So that's the end of our story. We promised earlier that we would tell you more about Jimmy Durante and his famous nose. Jimmy called his huge nose SCHNOZZOLA, Jimmy's parents were Italian, and SCHNOZZOLA was an Italian twist on the word schnoz. Schnoz was the Yiddish slang word that meant big nose. Look at the picture of Jimmy and SCHNOZZOLA the monkey. Do you think they look alike? Jimmy would have made a joke about it. Instead of being ashamed of his big nose, Jimmy acted very proud of it. In fact, he referred to himself as the schnoz and asked his friends to do the same. So instead of allowing himself to be teased and bullied, Jimmy used his unusual nose to help make others like him more. He became more famous than many people whose noses all looked alike. For those who remember, here's a part of a song for which Jimmy was famous.
Ink, a dink-a-doo, a dink-a-dee, a dink-a-doo.
Jimmy was also famous for his sign-off after every show.
Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
So remember the story of Jimmy Durante whenever someone tries to tease or bully you about something you can't help. Instead of letting others hurt you, use that special something to your advantage. Make the best of what Mother Nature gave you. You may be happier than the others who are all alike.
We talked about Jimmy Durante and his famous nose, and we talked about the big-nosed proboscis monkeys in Borneo. So what and where is Borneo? It's the third largest island in Asia. It lies at the exact center of maritime Southeast Asia and is marked with a red arrow on the world map. Borneo lies directly east of Singapore, southwest of the Philippines, and northwest of Australia. The island of Borneo is divided among 3 countries: Brunei, Indonesia, and Malaysia. The wild proboscis monkeys in this story live at the Lombok Bay Proboscis Monkey Sanctuary in the Malaysian state of Sabah. Lombok Bay is marked with a red arrow on this map. I'm Dr. Beth Parks, a wildlife biologist, photographer, and author. Here I am in Borneo with an atlas moth, one of the largest kinds of moths in the world. These moths can have a wingspan of over 12 inches. I love the way this one matches my blouse. Look for the paperback edition of Winning by a Nose on Amazon.com. It includes an educational section with questions and answers about proboscis monkeys, as well as information about Borneo. It also lists the words that kids might not know and explains the meaning of those words. Be sure to watch my other video storybooks as I put them up on YouTube. Elephant Seals with Colds in Their Noses is a story set in Antarctica at the southern end of the globe. It is done in 2 parts. Part 1 tells the story, while Part 2 features a seal pup answering questions most kids and adults have about southern elephant seals. I hope you like it. Watch for more Beth Parks story videos on YouTube. So from the bottom of the monkey's nose, here's a kiss goodbye. Until the next time.